Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us. We're going to look at the basic processes that we typically follow through financial year end. There are a few aspects that we're going to focus on. Our two key presenters this morning will be Cornél Eberson and Hannes van Biljon. They will take us through some of the detail, looking at GRAP, the new implications there, the new VAT implications. So we're fairly excited about the content. At the end or near the end of the webinar this morning, we're going to run a poll, 5 or 6 questions, and we'd really appreciate your participation in the poll. It will give us a bit of guidance of how to organize these sessions in future, and at the how regular we would like to have these engagements. We feel this is very important to engage, and especially now that we have the technology. Once again, thank you very much. Cornél, if you're ready, I think we can start.
Good morning, colleagues. Philip, just confirmation that I'm audible.
Yes, you're audible, Cornél, and we can see your first slide, so you are ready to roll.
Okay, so in terms of the key compliance and legislative considerations that we will have to deal with at the end of this financial year, it is the normal MSCOA chart conversions that we have to deal with, and the most important ones or the key effect that it will have will be on the VAT configurations and how VAT will work as per MSCOA 7.1. The whole VAT configuration, with the segments are changing, mostly in the same class as it was previously, but just to highlight on this is that the VAT on the face of the balance sheet are now split between your statutory receivables, like we all know, VAT, input VAT. Part of that is now included under your trade and exchange debtors. The other part of that will remain then as statutory requirements. And then on the liability side, your output VAT will be split between VAT liability. A portion of that will be included under the trade and exchange liabilities, and the other part of that will be included in your non-exchange part of your current liabilities. There where we normally see them or group them where the grants were, the unspent grants were, there is a VAT output accrual that where that portion is now disclosed. Okay, so on the non-exchange VAT, that is part of the new or a new VAT requirement, is where VAT will be separated, that is charged on like the non-exchange availability charges. A few clients do use that, so those clients will be affected on how they will configure the system to account for the VAT in that segment. That will be a new feature that is coming, and it's part of the New Year release. And then the other major requirement or legislative change, if you can call the GRAP, it's the guidance, is the GRAP 104 on the financial instruments, where the process of impairing debtors specifically is changing, or there's new recommendations or prescripts on how that will be done. Okay, then if we're looking at the enhancements and the support initiatives within the Phoenix ERP system, we've enhanced the data reports that will be rolled out soon in support of the GRAP 104 calculations. We have automated the migration of the current VAT segments to the new 7.1 segments. It was something that was previously done in the beginning of the year. Because it was done in the budget this year already, this will be automated. The only thing that clients will be required to do is to configure the new VAT segments that's not currently in 6.9 for the non-exchange. And then we will also extract a report and data to account for the VAT balances currently associated with non-exchange revenue. Okay, Hannes, I've seen Hannes have joined. Hannes can continue from this side. Philip.
Okay, good morning, everybody. My apology, just to get connected. But yeah, I think one of the key things when it comes to the year end, I think what is critical is actually to develop a schedule of key activities, and I think what that entails is, yes, everything that need to go before, or have to be done before year end. It's important that you actually follow all those processes. If you're looking at checking, for instance, on your general ledger, your budgeting, if there's anything that's any abnormality or what might reflect there, is actually just to make sure that you go through it, you do the necessary corrections. If you go to your payroll or to your creditors, is to ensure all outstanding orders, that you follow up, that you try to clear them. Your invoices, there should be a deadline, to make sure that you capture all your invoices up to the level, your GRNs up to where it is on the invoice stage. And then I know sometimes at year end you try to manage your cash as well, so you don't want to pay everything because you have a 30-day payment period. So if you want to provide it as a creditor at year end, then you don't make the payment, but you must ensure that you do get all of those invoices. And I think what is critical, I know it's always a challenge, is really to get everybody on board, your departmental heads, even your divisional heads, if it's a bigger municipality, try to get them on board and to provide you with as much information what is possible. So if you go then to your stores, make sure if there's any redundant stock that might be there, no movements or anything that is missing and you want to still to write off, make sure that you do those processes before you can do your month end for June. So also then on the payroll, make sure that everything is there. Any corrections that what you want to do, try to do it up front. And I think normally the biggest challenge normally is with your debtors. Try make sure all your write-offs that you can get it in. The ideal situation is to have it before the end of May, which we already, I don't think it will be possible. But at least to try to have it in the system, because sometimes it's not just here's the write-offs and you do it. It's normally those kind of things that might cause some delay at year end. But what is also critical, and I know, unfortunately, like a year end, it's not only now May, June that you really start to focus up to when you submit your financial statement. It's an ongoing process where you actually start from the beginning of your financial year you work through. So your recons it's quite important, especially on your subledgers, your debtors, the store modules, your payroll, your cash book is one of the key issues. If it's not reconciled yet or at the point, you have to attend to those as a matter of urgency to make sure that at least that when you go in, that as much information is captured before you do your year end. You must remember, like on most of those sub-modules, there isn't a period 13 where you can still make adjustments. When you run your final billing run at year end, that will be your figure. Your H analysis will be based on that. So the only thing that might be added if you do a journal in period 13 might be your unbilled water or electricity. But for the rest, it will actually remain. And then you have to have those items that you make changes directly in your ledger account that might then reflect as a reconciliatory item. So it's critical. I think that control schedule of key activities, normally we try to engage, that was a practice mid-April, beginning of May, to give you time and try to focus. And I think if you really consult with a supporting consultant on site, just to make sure these are the critical things that we have to get in the system, and to make sure that it does reflect before you will do that. If you don't do it now, it will bottleneck when it comes to the end of June, and that will delay your whole process actually of finalizing your month end for June, and obviously it will have a negative impact also on preparing your financial statement. So the more you can do now, the less you have to do when you have to do it. So for me, it's quite critical. And I think the second point there, perform key monthly reconciliations. You have to go through it. If it's not there, you have to push, unfortunately, because those are the critical ones. If you don't have items that's not reconciled up to date, it creates a problem, and that problem will continue even after your month end. So go and assess your information, where you are, what are the kind of information, because what you want to submit to the auditors, it should be accurate, it should be complete, and eventually it will be consistent in terms of your financial reporting, what reflect in your general ledger, and eventually what you will reflect. The moment you start opening questions to an auditor, why there are differences, and now you have to start to explain, then it becomes difficult. So for me, especially now, if you're looking now at May, try to get as soon as possible into June so that you focus on those things. Don't delay your month end for May. Try to get into the new month for June and focus on those items, where that you still need to attend to. Because the moment it's done, it's done. And I think, yes, you want to reflect as much information as possible before you do the year end, and it's critical. The moment you miss that, then it's when you start making adjustments, and then it's not in the system, and then normally it creates more problems. So this is from my side. I think that control schedule of key activities, it's quite important. Go through your billing, your expenditure, your grants, all of that, your investments, your cash book, and bank recon. It's key that you do those processes. So I think that is from my side. I know there's a lot more detail and information, but those are the critical ones that you need to pay. Don't let anything that's on the system not approved, your outstanding orders, push those things to get it into the system, to cancel them if they're not relevant anymore. But you have to attend to those critical processes. Thank you.
Yeah, Philip, to continue on what Hannes has alluded to, there are migration reports to ensure that the MSCOA accounts remains and continues to be valid, specifically in comparative reporting. that is required for the AFS. And the best is to run those reports now. The system already makes provision for that report to indicate where your challenges were or are going to be. For that matter, as everybody does not use all the same accounts of the chart. You only use what applies in your environment. So that report gives you an indication, and it gives you time to interrogate your challenges and to find a solution, have time to test it, to see that it continues to provide the correct balances, as well as your reporting requirements. And then after you've done that, you need to update the system parameters. Everybody know what we call the council parameters. That's basically the system parameters telling the system where to transact at what particular stage. And the only change that we expect there to be will be on the new VAT accounts that is added for the non-exchange revenue. That is a release that we will deploy and made available in June, but it's a new year release. It's a release that can only work once the 7.1 chart has been activated. It is, well, we can call it stock standard year-end procedures. There won't be a new release required for the year-end for this year. We will continue the month-end closure and the year-end closure as we did last year. It is then just the whole point where we deploy the new release and activate the new release in production when we start the new financial year. Okay, thank you, Philip. Hannes alluded to a control schedule. It is basically a simplified plan to see where you're going to go from this week on towards your activation of the new financial year. It is planning. Like people say, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. What we've done for this year is looked at previous year where there's delays. There were some clients struggling to getting over into the new financial year and starting the new year late and under pressure because of the migration challenges. Your control schedule will help you. The reports that we do try and establish where the challenges will be. We've done that. We've done automated migration like this GRAP my apologies, the VAT requirements. There is new requirements or not new requirements, new SCOA accounts for long service award, your defined benefits, where they are transacting, they move to a new family. What we did is to automate the filling of those segments, because if you have them, you most probably did do the conversion in the budget process for the new year. Those goods would have been empty. You had to convert them to the 7.1 chart, and that is the new enhancement where we also assist is to what you did in the budget already. We now will implement in the start of the new year and say, you said that this is the segment, here's the new segment, and your config code will remain the same. When the config code remains the same, there will be no requirements to reconfigure into the system to enable the transacting for the new year. Remember, the configurations must be completed before the system will come out of inquiry mode to ensure that from day one we transact on the correct segments. Right. And then what we also recommend is that you identify the training gaps, look at the system functionality, um, and to utilize the system to its full potential. One thing that I don't know if people don't know that, but we've got one version of Phoenix that is running at every client. So whether you're a small municipality or whether you're the biggest municipality or client that we have, you all got the same system capabilities. It's all integrated. It is just the level of utilization that materially differs. So if you look at Phoenix, there's standard functionality that you can utilize. It's integrated. Um, it is one driver from this is the key system functionality and recons, like Hannes um, named them. Bank. Debtors, creditors, all those things influence the grant register, and the grant register can work from there on. Even stores, it is key to make all those functionality work and work for you and reduce the workloads and the reporting workloads that you have to deal with in terms of legislation. Um, See, and then Philip, if there's any questions and answers that we can address, if you can maybe just clarify the process uh, from
Thank you,
your
Cornel.
side.
Sorry, guys, I'm having a problem with this microphone, but thank you very much, Cornel. I think if there are any questions, if you can post that in the Q&A section, we can try and answer them. If we can't answer the questions, we'll definitely get back to you in writing after the session. Cornel, perhaps maybe if we can focus on just a few things that we typically find to be frustrating during a year end that our customers should be aware of. One of the things that I'm thinking of right now is perhaps just making sure all the orders are through the system and all the so that's properly sort of concluded with before you start with the financial year end process. And then if you could maybe look at some advice on completing the year end, the month end, the year end, so that we make sure that we have our systems ready for use in the shortest possible time frame. Are there any things that that we could perhaps share that you think might be of value?
Philip, yes, Hannes discussed or named those processes. It's how you plan. But not all municipalities operate in the same methodology and the internal disciplines, centralized procurement versus decentralized procurement, etc., etc. They are all different. Is how you plan. What is your internal resolution and guidance by the CFO or your financial reporting department? If there's outstanding orders that you need to cancel, there's a report that shows that. One thing that you don't have to do is if they don't bother you, don't spend time, they will disappear. That's how Phoenix works. Orders are not carried over to a next year. There is pros and cons to that. If there's significant order amounts that you think you should cancel them. Minor orders, R2 here, undelivered R3, or small differences, leave them, they will disappear. The thing is, a 12,000 or a 20,000 rand order that is there, and you don't cancel it, might affect if you can pass a corrective journal at year end, because it reserves budget, and now you can't pass that journal because there's budget being held by an outstanding order. So it is good practice to review that, look at what is outstanding, and insignificant ones, ignore them, but significant orders to cancel them. He does assist. Good. Basically, because at the end of the day, you've got a budget versus actual reporting that you also need to disclose in your AFS. It sometimes can seem to be as unauthorized, or alternatively, what happens a lot of times is now we are doing misallocation. Oh, there's money for this thing on that vote, and we post, and then the auditors come and say, but this expenditure type has been misclassified. Rather cancel them and get your budget versus actual reporting and your classifications correct. It's less trouble down the line for that. In terms of slow starts, it does happen. And I think it's more internal process because everybody will have the same thing. Some will have 2 or 3 more migrations to do in terms of the new chart. Some will have less. But that is what you need to plan and to see impact it's going to have on your particular client or a chart of accounts that you are utilizing. So what we suggested is run the list. There is a report that's being run. We are running it anyway to check for the on the development side of it to get as much challenges that possibly can exist. The clients can run that themselves and then plan around that. It might be a long list, short list, but in terms of the planning for the new financial year start, that is where you will get the benefit from pre-planning on that.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'm going to ask Dan to just flight up our poll, and if you could please respond, we'd really appreciate that. And sort of as we're preparing to close, I want to maybe just ask in Hannes and then Cornél just for some closing arguments or closing comments. Hannes, is there anything you want to perhaps leave our audience with, our community? You're welcome to proceed.
Yeah. No, thank you, Philip. Now, I think what is key, and I think Cornél also alluded to the fact, you have to plan. Unfortunately, you're already the end of May. You only have 1 month left. But it's quite key, even how you manage your procurement. Normally, if you haven't spent any money by the end of April, May, then it's very, now people will come and look what's still available in the vouchers and they want to spend. I think what you normally do have a cutoff in terms of your procurement and only allow critical payments still to continue. But normally with the condition, once you procure, then you have to get or to obtain your invoice as well. So to make sure that everything is in the system. If you allow people to continue with procurement till the last week, you will not be able to even obtain some of those invoices. So that to me is critical. But I think the one thing is, yes, we're already here now. And I think for now, we need to try and rescue whatever reflects. Some people are far advanced, they mature, they know what to do. It's just to wrap up a year end or June month end should be like a normal month. There's only more things that you need to attend to make sure for this period everything is captured in your reporting period from July up till now. Whilst with a month, it's not that if it's not in now, next month you catch up. But with the final one in June, you have to make sure that all transactions that went through or you want to reflect or provisions that you want to reflect for that specific period from July up to June should be in your system. And you don't allow them to have too many afterwards to try to fix with that. Also, what Cornél have said, go through your income and expenditure statement, look at your actuals, and then there's normally also a column that reflect your commitments. Those are the ones that Cornell made reference to. If there shouldn't be any commitments if you run your INE at year end. So go and have a look. Make sure that you attend to those outstanding orders. Otherwise, it will reflect as a commitment on that. And then also, when you go through that, go and look for unauthorized expenditure through your budgets. Maybe also look at incorrect allocation where you have budgeted, where you pick up any abnormalities, where you might see, but wow, there's no revenue, but I budgeted, or there's no expenditure. Why? Go and have a look at those possible incorrect allocations. Try to correct it as well, so that when you do your month end, at least that is done. What is also key, and I think maybe that is, I always say you learn lessons from the previous year where we at fault, where we had delays. Try and go and have a look and say what are the reason for that, and put systems and procedures in place to allow you going into the new financial year that you start off with that. If you just leave it now, you will end up next year with the same. Start now with the new year. Make sure that every month into all your reporting, everything you put in a folder where you safeguard and keep that information, because those are the reports that relate to any reconciliation. Don't come now afterwards and try to run reports. Sometimes in some of those, there are movements. It doesn't balance anymore, and then it creates problems. So from July onwards, make sure all month-end reports, make sure that you run all those reports, make sure that you safeguard those reports, and those are the only reports that you use to recon, whether it's right or wrong. But that is the reporting that you need to engage to. And it's important that when an auditor comes, that you provide and they request certain information for a specific month, you run back and you obtain those reports, and don't now run around and to look for information. So it's very key. It's very important that you do have that information. But yes, try whatever you can rescue now. Try whatever you can do to get into the system. But then from the 1st of July, when you start the new year, you make sure that you keep those reports in a folder, because sometimes it's difficult if you start running around and you don't know where there's that information. So thank you. It's all from my side, Philip.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Hannes. We're getting some activity on the poll. I'd like to encourage everybody just to give us your comments on the poll. I should have said this before, and especially now with all the commissions of inquiry happening, this is an anonymous poll, so we don't know who said what. So please feel free to participate. We will send the feedback to all the participants in the webinar, so that you also have some feedback. Cornel, maybe just from your side before we close, anything that you'd like to add to what Hannes has just mentioned with regards to the year end? This is such a dramatic event because it happens once and it's gone. So we would like to just make sure that we are able to assist in any way possible for every municipality to have a successful financial year end. Cornel?
Philip, thank you. Just plan, please consult with us so that we can help, so that we can schedule time to thoroughly go through this. I believe that if we plan for this year, it will be a lot smoother. We also feel it from our side when clients are struggling and the calendar pressure comes. You have to report by the 10th working day. We are not billing the month end. The first month end is late. It's got a effect over the whole year. We want to start earlier, get the clients up and running. The technical departments, usually they want to order, they want to do their work. It all creates pressure. So I think by planning, we will, and hopefully by in this year, we can all make it a target and say by the 6-7 working calendar day of the new year, we are all up and running. That will be a benefit to everybody, even for our staff and as well as for the clients. So plan, consult with us, engage. There is a designated support to each client. Utilize that, and the rest of the team is anyway there to pitch in. Thank you, Philip.
Thank you very much, Cornel, and thank you very, very much for everybody that took time this morning to attend the session. We're just on the hour, so I'm really glad that we could finish it well within our time frame. Just as closing remarks, please do not hesitate to speak to your consultant. So each of our customers, you have a dedicated consultant, and as Cornel and both Hannes alluded, please engage early. Let's get together, let's work on a plan to assist you to get through the financial year end. We are preparing for very long days and short nights during the next few weeks, but we're there to assist, and we would love to work with you in order to ensure that we get the financial year end process behind us as successfully and as soon as possible. Once again, thank you. What we'll do is a copy of a recording will be available. I will send that to everybody that attended this morning. It'll be on our YouTube channel. You can subscribe to the channel. There's very interesting content that is published on that channel during the course of normal business during the year. And it'll also be available on Facebook, etc. So snippets of the detail that we provided today. But once again, everyone, thank you very, very much for taking time to join. Good luck with the financial year end, and we look forward to a very successful financial year end. And thank you very much. Thank you.
For more information, please feel free to contact us on 0860 104 888, alternatively admin@be.co.za, or on any of our socials. We'd love to interact with you.